Yo, what's good? Welcome to Counter Currents. This is Petey Steele.
And your co-host, Elena Torres.
And today we got my main man all the way from NC, big NC, Kakalaka, Quentin Hardy. What's good?
Hey, man, thank you for having me. Thank you, guys. This is great.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thanks
Our pleasure.
for doing this. If you guys don't know Quentin, he is a wonderful local comedian. We've known him for a while. How long have you been doing comedy in DC?
2 years. I've been doing comedy right after I moved up here. I think, like 3 months once I moved up here, I started doing comedy.
Oh, okay. So you didn't start doing comedy in North Carolina. You started doing it here.
All through here.
Oh, okay.
I remember when he started. We were at Shenanigans, right?
That was a funny. Yeah, we were at Shenanigans, and I've been doing Shenanigans for a minute, and I didn't know Petey from A Hole in the Wall, and I think I did a set, and he was like, "Why are you here? Come to Draft House."
I think I also met Petey at Shenanigans, didn't I?
No, that was O'Sullivan's in
Oh,
Arlington.
O'Sullivan. That's right. Sorry, wrong Irish pub.
Yeah. There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
We get around.
Mm-hmm.
But, I remember that and being like, yeah, you should go to the Draft House and you had some talent. Because typically I see new people and I'm kind of like, all right, most of y'all quit. But I was like, this guy's got it. And I wouldn't just straight up tell a newcomer that, just unless they asked me. But but I wouldn't, misguide them either. Like, there were people before you that came along that were new, and I would just tell them, yeah, I think you want to stick around these things for a few months, get your weight up a bit, and then maybe make a foray into the Draft House.
Yeah, and I think what happened was we were talking before I got on the mic. I think it was just always, as a new comic, you always try to figure out who everybody is. Hey, how you doing? How long you been in the game? What fun have you had doing this? And I think that's something that I wish a lot more new comics would do, or at least one of more older comics would actually be more approachable too.
Sure.
Is when new comics come in, they actually just say, "Hey, how you doing?" Instead of, "I'm focusing on my set. Leave me alone right now."
Right.
And
Do you think the onus is more on the older comics or the newer guys?
Mixture
in terms
of both.
Of approachability?
Mixture of both.
A blend?
Okay. It's a blend. I remember as a new comic, you know who's funny from seeing. I think that's why the Pinch was so great. The Pinch, you get to go. All new comics were welcomed, and also that was just a hangout spot.
Right.
So that way you can actually say, hey, you had a great set. Do you have any advice? And no one has advice.
Yeah.
So it was.
Does no one really have advice?
You have advice. I think everyone's still trying to figure it out. At least on the open mic level, I think everyone's still trying to figure out the move. Mm-hmm. And so, only advice you can give someone is the typical, hey, don't sleep with any comics. Hey, don't.
Which so many people don't follow.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about that at a show last night. Just like so many people, but
Yeah,
I get it.
It's true. I'm gonna tell the next girl I mentor just be a whore, and hope that she reverses on it.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe people will do it. You'd be like, if you just tell girls, just sleep with as many guys in comedy as possible, and then maybe to rebel, they just won't. That would be great.
But at the same time, I think every comic has a bad dating scenario. So with comics, you're with them all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You have a connection. It's comedy. You have something in common. You're funny.
We all work together at night, and it's a.
I get it. I definitely get it, but don't do it.
Yeah. See, I disagree with you though. I think most of that should be on the new comic to approach older comics, and if they're rude to you, I think you just got to deal with it and find someone who is nice or not. Because if you've been in this game a while, you don't know. The truth is, you don't know how long a new comic's going to stay at it.
Right. That's true.
I started comedy 3 years ago. Almost no one who started when I started is still around. And that's 3 years. You don't know. So when you've been doing comedy a while, okay, maybe you're really into this. If you're a new comic and talking to me, right?
Right.
Maybe you're really into this right now, but are you going to be here in 6 months? Why?
No, I agree. The chances are no. I'm happy to say that I've, of the couple of people I've picked to be like, oh yeah, I think they'll be around. I've batted 1,000.
Have you really?
Yeah, between for at least a year, because you've been at it 2. Eddie Morrison's been at it 5, and Claire Steiner just got 1. So
already?
Yeah, isn't that crazy how time flies?
Wow.
So I kind of You know, I'm a fucking kingmaker. No, I'm just kidding. These people ain't kings.
And
no.
and I feel, and it's cool because like when I started, I started doing comedy through a veterans group. They kind of taught us how to do stand up. They kind of taught us how to write a joke.
Sure.
And they taught us what an open mic was. And the first open mic we went to, it was some sports bar, and they had the Capitals, the Nationals, and the Wizards playing. So no one in the bar cared about comedy. Mm-hmm. And I think as new comics go, they come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Oh, I'm funny. I'm gonna do an open mic, and they really realize what this is.
Yeah.
And after 2, 3, 4 months of just no one caring, they give up. So
That's right.
I'm glad that veteran class kind of taught me this is what, if you want to do stand-up,
right,
this is what this is.
Yeah.
And then you meet friends. You from that, when new comics talk to other comics, you find a road dog. You find someone that's, you get happy when you see him at a place. Like, oh, you're here. Now we're gonna have fun. Yeah. And those 2 months go by super fast, and to the point where you are 2 years in, 3 years, 5 years in, and you're still having a great time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that sort of the killing of the spirit is important. I think that's important to last in comedy.
I agree with that
for
too.
a while. Like, you know, so one thing I miss about being new is I thought I was so funny, and I thought I was so great, and I thought there was stuff wrong with the crowds, and now I like know too much.
Yeah.
And I notice so many nuances. Like now I feel like no set I ever do will be good enough.
Sure.
Right? Whereas in my first year, I was like, I really have a future. But I feel like I've become such a better comic when that went away.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think, honestly, that's why I enjoy doing comedy festivals. Because I feel like I'm always here doing open mics. And I feel that same exact thing. You like, I like, oh, this was awful. Ugh. But then when you fly out to a place where it's a different venue, no one knows who you are, no one knows how much work you put into what you were doing, and you kill in bumfuck Texas. Yeah. And it makes you feel, I think that's what keeps me going, is the traveling aspect of comedy.
Do you travel a lot for comedy?
Only for festivals. I wish I could just take a megabus to Philly and just do a Thursday night in Philly. I wish I had that kind of drive. But all my traveling I've done came from comedy festivals.
Right.
Which festivals have you done by now in 2 years?
When I first started, I did the Laughing Devils Devil's Cup up in New York. From there, San Diego, El Paso, Oak City in North Carolina, SodaCon in South Carolina.
Fucking A, that's 5.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I'm amazed at myself for being off Facebook for a whole year, not knowing about any of this. But also that's a big accomplishment for someone 2 years in, 5 things at least.
Well, I think that's the fun part about the DC comedy scene. It's hard to get in. It's hard to crack open the DC comedy, to get into the cliques of the comedy. And it was, if you want to get on, how are you going to put yourself on? Yeah. So I looked on Google, saw there was a festival. All you needed was a tape. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, I'll send a tape. And I was asking people advice, like, should I do this? And they were like, no, you're not seasoned. Mm-hmm. Well, screw you. I had a good tape. And that one acceptance came in, and it was fun to see the different styles of comedy. What comedy in Texas is versus what comedy in California is, what comedy in New York is versus in Chicago, to even the little parts like Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. I think just seeing the different, the different subject matters, the different what they're going through, what I find that to be the most fun part about the comedy festivals.
Wow. Well, I think that makes you a better comic too, being able to see other comedians outside this bubble, because I think we're lucky in DC that we have so many shows that we can do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you can just stay here and feel like you're killing it at comedy, because you can do comedy every night, which is great, in front of a real crowd. But I think, and Petey and I have talked about this, I think it's easy to get lost sort of like in that bubble of just DC comedy, and you forget that we're a dot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, DC is a great place. I mean, you could hit 3 mics for free And every night, if you wanted to.
When there are people there.
When there are people there.
Yeah. There's an audience at those 3 mics because you can hit eight mics in New York, but are there going to be an audience at those 8 mics in New York?
And even in DC, like an audience of 4 can be a dope audience of 4.
For sure.
And you can just crowd work for your 5 minutes there, and you just have a great time.
Yeah, that is a real test of a comic if you can reap enjoyment for doing comedy for 4 people.
Well, I was here last night, and that's what it was. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like the time that we did.
In addition to doing 5 festivals, Quentin Hardy has done comedy for 4
people. Yeah. Well, Petey, do you remember that show that we did that I hosted for you? That there were 2 people there. That was like
on my first headline at
that
the
was
fucking Church of Satire.
They were the greatest.
They were the greatest
2-person audience. I had the most fun. They were so there to see comedy. They were laughing super hard. They loved all the jokes. They were clapping. I mean, we had a great time.
Yeah, and what's great is they didn't even pay to see me. They were the people that won the weekly caption contest on the posters.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
So they would be there every week, in Hanover. It's like, what are you going to do there? Eat another fucking giant pretzel? Or
Right. They were such great audience members.
Fantastic.
I would love to see Church of Satire because just knowing that they just built it out of nothing. They kind of just started, right?
Jim Bryan, in the last year, he quit his job as an executive in healthcare and just took a bunch of money, bought out one portion of a building. So there's a new age shop that his wife runs in one room. There's the comedy club in the other, and then there's this room where there's this kid with autism and his aide who sells knives. I'm not even making
samurai
this up.
swords
and knives out of a jewel case.
Yeah. That's 100% true.
I see the pictures on it on social media, and it looks, from seeing how they built it to what it is now, to people that they got to bring into this room in somewhere Pennsylvania, I believe.
Hanover.
I think it's amazing.
They're such nice people.
Yeah,
they're such nice people.
I heard no bad things about that place.
Yeah, they offered me free beard oil as I left. I just, I was like, Jim, you got bills to pay. Save it for the next guy that hasn't heard of a razor,
Oh,
yeah, they gave me my first feature weekend.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and I had a great time. They're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
So, yeah, I mean, there's all these things that just keep popping up as comedy not only burgeons in D.C., but other parts of the country, and then connections are made between microstitial areas and bar and grills and office parks and breweries and fucking, I'm, headlining Fredericksburg, Virginia, this brewery I featured at last month on December 7th. I'm back by popular demand. It feels great.
There you go. That's awesome. How's a show at a brewery work? Is it just the same? Is it just?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah?
It's not even the first one. I mean, Jaeger had his things at Lost Rhino or whatever. And then that girl.
Oh, I think I did that show.
You did Lost Rhino?
I think so.
Yeah, it's in an office park. You walk in.
Yeah.
And also, Leon and Mike Ford used to have, they may still have it, the Port City Brewery out in, I want to say Alexandria. And you walk in there, it's a platform and these big fucking, brewery machines. You feel like you're doing comedy in the Zangief stage or something. Right. You're eating bananas. And they're great. I mean, everybody's there to obviously drink, and they're gonna be loose, and they're gonna let you do what you want to do as long as you're funny. And
they're always packed out. I don't think I've ever seen a brewery show where it wasn't a full brewery, people were not just there.
Yeah.
And it's always a good time.
Alcohol and comedy are a great mix.
but it's bigger than that. Yes, that's important, and I did say that because it gets them loose. But additionally, in these communities that have breweries, they tend to be out. They're all in these office parks, and they're way out in rural America almost, where they don't really have all that much to do. They have some access to the city, but it's an hour and a half drive. You got to pay some tolls, So it's you're bringing the fucking city, in a sense, to them, or a taste of the city.
Right.
And what else are they going to do on that Saturday night but pack it out? If there's not a high school football game going on or something,
Right.
This is Friday Night Lights for them.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's great.
So, Quentin, what are your goals in comedy?
Oh. I wish I had one. No, I think just to be able to pay my rent. I think, honestly, if like I don't know
That's
how
a
long,
great goal.
I don't know
That's
how long it will
excellent.
take. If I could just pay my rent with comedy, I think I'll be happy with just that. I don't really want. Well, I would like to. I think that's every comic's dream is to have the Netflix special, to have that.
Right.
But honestly,
Sometimes even with a Netflix special, you can't pay your rent.
Yeah,
though.
about that.
Yeah.
How about that?
but if I could somehow just like for like just 1 month, like I can still do my 9 to 5, but then make enough money to be like, you know what, pocket change, boom.
Right.
I would be. I think I would be ecstatic. I'll be happy. But honestly, to traveling, if I could to just travel all over just to tell jokes.
Oh, that's what you want to do. Like your comedy career at the end of the day looks like you want to tour a touring comedian.
Yeah, it's something about talking. I think when people hear you're a DC comic, I think the first thing they want to hear is your opinion on the politics that's going on in DC.
That's so true and so incorrect.
And
Yeah.
and when you get on stage, you're doing 15, 30 minutes, and not once did you talk about it.
No.
And I think that's just the fun part of when they hear coming from DC. Even though I'm not from here, but it's when I had to write down where do you live now,
Yeah.
DC. So
Yeah,
People ask me that all the time. They're like, "Oh, you do comedy in DC? I bet it's super political and everybody does really smart, intense political jokes." I'm like, "We cannot even say the word Trump if we want to keep an audience laughing. No one wants to hear it here."
but that's the fun part.
I think that's great. It makes our comedy so much better that we
Yeah.
don't have to do any of that
It's
stuff.
funny, going all these other places in America, having grown up here and everything, and I get this feeling that people think that who've never been here, that it's all just people in like suits and briefcases walking around passing bills, or that
That's
we're
what I thought.
or that we're just dealing crack. That's the
Yeah,
dichotomy.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I ever hear. Whether it was Wisconsin going to college, whether it was fucking doing shows in Chicago or wherever, it's never like, oh, you could just be normal and be here.
But I think you got to come to DC to realize that. I mean, I think there's a different culture from U Street to Columbia Heights. Like, there's a different vibe. There's a different
Right.
from Adams Morgan to
Oh,
DuPont.
yeah.
And
Totally.
it's one of those. When you bring people here, the first thing they want to do is do the museum tour.
And the
do
monuments and all that shit.
And it's like, this is not. I mean, I think when you go to New York, like Town Square is not New York.
Oh, yeah. When you
Yeah.
live in New York, you avoid Times Square like the plague.
Yeah.
And then you see what everyone likes to go to, the food that everyone likes to eat that's not on an internet website.
Right.
I think that's when you fly out, you get a sense of that when you talk about what it's like riding on the red line. To make that general public know what you're talking about, it's a good thing.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think that Nat's Boo really helped give people an idea of DC, because I think also questions I get a lot, like when I go back to California, which is like where a lot of my core people are from, in Mexico, right? Like two extremely anti-Trump places.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh my God, Trump lives there. I bet there's like supporters and people that work for him everywhere that you have to see." I'm like, literally never. Everyone hates him.
Yeah.
And I explained that DC, I mean, we're not a state, but more than any other state voted 98% for Hillary. And people were like, really? I'm like, yeah. So I feel like that Nat's Boo that happened,
It needed to happen.
it needed to happen. And I feel like it gave people a little bit more of an idea of what DC is like.
Yeah. And for the people that don't like it, good. You can stay in Kentucky. We don't give a fuck.
Right. Well, he got a roaring applause in Alabama yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
Did you
the
hear about that?
Crimson Tide, and then they lost the fucking game.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
right,
first
that's right.
time in
Go
like 30
Tigers.
some games.
That's right. It
Go
was the
Tigers.
LSU Alabama game. But I also heard that they told students.
No wonder Jack was such a dick last night.
Yeah, apparently they told Alabama students, if you boo Trump, you lose your student section seats.
Oh, fuck that.
And there was all kinds of Trump gear around. I mean, my brother-in-law went to the game because he got invited through work stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was showing me photos. Like, there was all kinds of, like, pro-Trump shit
And I
everywhere. And I'm
Man,
like,
it's the kiss of death, yo.
don't.
Yeah.
We lost that game here, too.
yeah, exactly. If he goes to your shit, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
But that's the. I think at the comic, I think that's the fun part. Yeah, you get stuck here in DC. You see what it is here, but when you go somewhere else, like when I did a show in Ohio, all Trump. We did a show in a barn. And it was, you could see it. And again, you had every comic from Chicago, from New York, from Cali that came, opened up with a Trump bit. And it was nothing.
Really?
Opened up with it. And it wasn't nothing groundbreaking. It wasn't nothing that you probably never heard from an SNL. It was nothing.
At this point,
new.
it's hard to make a groundbreaking Trump joke, too.
Yeah. I think it always has been because every single day he outdoes himself.
Yeah, that's the thing is like he's so insanely ridiculous. It's hard. I think Trevor Noah does a really good job. I think The Daily Show does a really good job because they don't. It's not as like on the nose as so many other things, but it's hard to make Trump jokes because he's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wonder in the future whenever people are taking AP US history if all this shit could ever even be documented in like one textbook, and that if he isn't impeached, how any of our kids are going to look at any of us ever again.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'd have to whitewash history or something just to prove that I was like a good person in the 2010s.
I think it happens. I think in any other country it's the same. Do you have someone that the country doesn't like that's running? And then over time, you make it better. I mean, it's part of it's part of the game.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, go out and vote.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
That's right.
People also get used to their realities. It's like a lot of people, I feel like, forget that like civil rights was like yesterday.
Yeah, 50
and
years.
Segregation. There were a lot of people that were alive and well that are alive and well today that were participating.
Oh yeah.
In segregation. Talk about people that you can't look at. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like some people forget like how recent that shit is.
And it's just gonna. But again, it's gonna be that next generation that wipes it out.
Yeah.
Once they all croak, how were they raised, or how are they able to adapt? And if they're not willing to adapt, then we'll be back here again.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't want to see the leader that outdoes this guy, though.
I know. I know.
It's going to be scary, I think, with how soft everything is now. I would love to see, in the next 50 years, what would the dude in elementary school now, the next elementary school kid to be president, how would the life would be like when that happens? I think that would be kind of cool to see.
Well, I think you say everything's soft, but I feel like one thing, like with sort of like this presidency and all, and like, the Alabama game on Saturday, there's a very strong reaction the other way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like anger and aggression the other way. So is that elementary school kid going to be raised now in like in like some sort of crazy, more aggressive way? And what's that going to look like? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If he was one of the kids that was like telling Mexican students that if Trump gets elected, he's going to deport your ass.
That's right. And that's going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard those reports. Absolutely.
Right? So, like, what if that kid gets voted in? You know what I mean?
For fuck's sake. It's terrible.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time to see. But good thing we have cell phones. Everyone's taking pictures. Everyone's taking Snapchats.
Yeah, that's right.
So nothing's not going to be documented.
There's no privacy anymore.
Yes, that's the truth. People are like, "Oh, but my account was blocked." It's like if you upload anything to the internet now, you just got to plan on the whole world. I don't care how many blocks you have on your shit. Just like the whole world is going to see it.
And I learned that from my little brother. He's Snapchat king. There's not a day when we can just hang out and chill if he doesn't have something to post. Mm-hmm. And I never grew up like that, so I mean, I just have a Facebook and Instagram. That's all I have, so.
I wonder if it'll get to a point where people like see a guy like me who doesn't do Facebook anymore, and it's just like he doesn't have an account. I don't trust that motherfucker.
See, I think it's the opposite. Now when people have less social media, I'm like, wow, they're more sane.
Okay, but I agree, but that's an enlightened viewpoint, I think.
Right, like when I found out my husband didn't have Instagram when I met him, I was like so much more into it.
Like,
I was
God.
I was like, thank God. I was like, there's some normalcy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turn to a narcissist when you
Right,
have
totally,
it.
totally.
That's life is about me. Watch what I fucking do, and I feel like a hypocrite 'cause I'm living right now.
Are you really?
Oh wow, this whole thing's been doing live.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
Hey everybody, how many people are watching
Yeah.
Mr. Narcissist? We got like live 6.
Ha! We got a fan of one.
Oh, hey.
What's up, girl?
Yeah, hey.
It's Petey
Thanks for-
Steele, the one you logged in. No. Wow. So, also, speaking of live, now weren't you supposed to do, or you did a live edition for AGT? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I did that. I'm actually doing that again. I'm doing that again on the 19th. So
How was that?
hard?
Yeah.
I think everyone y'all done the NBC stand
No,
up one.
I've not.
Okay.
No.
NBC, he just endorsed me.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of NBC. We had Frankie here last week. Now we've got Quentin. We've got all kinds of.
Oh no, I didn't
NBC.
make it past the audition. But the America's Got Talent is hard only because it's 5,000 people in an auditorium, like in a sports arena. So you have everyone that's juggling dogs, practicing their singing, doing bow and arrows with their feet, and I'm just here trying to tell a clever dick joke in 90 seconds.
That's all they give you?
All they give you is 90 seconds. And then,
Fuck.
But the thing was, I'm thinking that when I first did it, I'm thinking that this was the show. I'm thinking, all right, cool. I'm about to go on this stage. There's going to be 3 judges. My audience members are going to be the people that are waiting to get on stage next.
Uh-huh.
Not at all. They take you into a little room no bigger than this, and it's a room full of 10 people. And the 10 people that they pick are just the parents who's about to watch their kid play Bruno Mars after waiting for 5 hours. So these are the people that I'm trying to make laugh.
Oh, so are you not going in front of that arena at all?
No, you just go and...
So do they pick? So, but there are people sitting in an arena watching.
No, just the 10. They
Okay.
break it up in 10.
Oh, so you're talking about the early audition phases? Okay, okay, yeah.
But I like that though because it was challenging. When I first did it, it was all right, cool. What is my best 90-second clean joke? And it kind of helps.
You've got to be clean too.
You got to be clean. So it kind of helps with the writing. It helps with trying to figure this out. And then when it's time to go, it's like, all right, cool. After doing comedy for a year, what's the best thing I got? And you take it down there, and if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But at the same time, you're in a new place. Hit up mics while you're down there. Enjoy a new scene. Enjoy new food. Comedy to me is a vacation. Getting out of here. If I do anything for comedy, I'm going to have a great time. Especially if I'm out, not going to work, taking a break.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think, and also with a lot of those things, a lot of those shows, like I've heard with American Idol and stuff, I mean, they're looking for certain casting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, who's the comedian we're going to have on today? You know, and the comedian has to have such and such story. Like, it's the same as auditioning for any TV show,
Yeah.
which you get about 90 seconds in a normal audition. And, you know, I think this is one thing that's made me, I think, a more resilient comic, I think is the right word, is because I've been to so many auditions where people like don't even look at me. Where you go in the room and there's 3 people and they don't even they don't fucking care. Like your number 150 that they've seen in the past hour and a half.
They may have already picked the person. They just say,
a lot of the time,
go through
they already
all
know
these
they want.
so we don't get
lot of the
sued.
time they have. A lot of the time they already have, and they already have an idea of between the 3 or 4 people they want, and they're just not there to see you.
But the sad thing that I learned, though, from doing that was that you need a great sob story. The sob story is what gets you into their favor. And I did not know that when I first did it.
So is this in your joke, or is this like your backstory that you?
Oh, this is just me talking to you guys.
No, but I mean, like, how is the sob story applied? Is it?
They
like
just ask you.
Quentin
So, like,
Hardy
just tell me about yourself.
Grew up in North Carolina as a Wolfpack fan or something.
Yeah, because that's such a huge part of those shows. Is like, it's like before people go on stage, they do like the 1.5-minute long clip where they're like,
Yeah,
you know, where do you come from, blah blah blah,
yeah.
and then they like close up on the mom, and then the performer performs. Like that's a that's a lot of content.
His mama had
for
a
their
cold
TV
nipple.
show. Yeah.
And so when I first did it, the only thing I like ever had to say was, "Oh yeah, I'm a veteran." Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. And they wanted to press and pry, like, "Oh, what did you do while in the military?" And I guess they wanted that sob story, and I didn't know. Most comics were quiet, were reserved. I'm only personal when I'm telling my jokes.
Right.
So when I got off, and the next person got on, all of a sudden this guy was a Purple Heart, lost a friend in Black Hawk Down, and doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. I was like, "You're 22. How?"
Like, he had a script written.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
So wait, he wasn't a veteran, but his friend was.
Something like
that's
that.
his
Yeah.
Story, Jesus.
But everyone like, "Yeah, I'm playing this song because my mom, she can't make it in."
I got a rip in my couch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So the sob story is what sells on those shows, but at the same time, it's difficult, it's hard, and I don't know. I like to just see myself improve. If I can make the judges and folks that's been waiting 5 hours to see their kid play a song on piano laugh, then it's like, all right, this is a solid joke. I'm happy with what I got here.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do in 90 seconds. You have to do like the dim mock from Bloodsport.
Yeah, exactly. 90 seconds is not a lot. Like,
It's
yeah.
not,
So that's less time than you get in New York open mics.
Yeah, they give you 3 at
2.
least. Yeah.
But I mean, but once like I said, it's all art, set up, punchline, and once I figured out how to write like that, to write a 5-minute set became a lot more fun. Because now I could fit more jokes.
That's interesting.
I could fit more taglines, more jokes within 5 minutes. So I can just like, oh damn, I don't have enough time now, which I have more than this 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like Quentin Hardy. My 5 minutes more than your Netflix special.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. It's a challenge, and like I said, I didn't know I could do stand up. So
They're doing it.
I'm just
Fucking
grateful and happy, and if there's any opportunity, because like I said, here in DC, it's hard to get put on. So
Yeah.
I just went on Google and tried to find my own way to get put on, and luckily it worked out.
Where do you think this drive of yours and strategic sense come from? How you kind of seems like you've circumnavigated most people in their 2-year mark of doing comedy in terms of like all these applying to festivals. Do you attribute this to some kind of work ethic, or is it just a way of working smart versus hard, or what would you say?
It's fun.
Okay, so it doesn't even feel like
it's
work.
fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Comedy has the only hard part about comedy is getting there.
Yeah.
I think that's always, even just waking up in the morning to come to the podcast. It's like the hardest part is getting off the couch to get somewhere. Once you're here, now you get to hang out. Now you get to have fun. Now you can just do what you wanted to do.
Right.
Same with going to like doing a show in New York. It's $15 on a megabus.
Yeah.
If that's all, you can make all the excuses to not do something. But
I made them.
Yeah. But it's fun. Someone out there never knew you existed, and you made them chuckle.
Yeah.
It's a fun feeling.
Fuck yeah.
But I think military, growing up on a farm, I think all of that kind of just, the work has to get done. Only you can put the work in. No one else will do it for you.
You grew up on a farm.
Grew up on a farm, man.
No shit.
Horse farm.
Wow. Shoveling shit, huh?
Dude, I'm allergic to hay, so that was...
No way. Oh, that sucks.
Wow.
So it was every summer turtlenecks while doing yard work at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, because it was like skin itchy. Oh.
So, I mean, it was that. I think the work had to get done. I can complain about it. No one else is going to do it.
Monday. You know that reference?
No.
There's a Freddie Gibbs video where he's manning a horse farm and yelling at white people. He's like, "You don't like to see a black man in charge. Monday, we got to shovel some shit." Like this. Oh, it's fuck. Oh, someone send you the clip. It's brilliant.
Got you. No, I think it's a prideful thing. It was my grandfather's. He started the ranch, and his only dream was for one of his horses to run in the Kentucky Derby.
Did that happen?
Nuh-uh.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, they didn't want a they didn't want, I guess, a black horse to win at that time. So he did all the other derbies and everything else, but he could never do the Kentucky Derby.
So he was a jockey?
No, we just bred him. We just bred horses, and that was the one thing he wanted to do, and it never came true. So slowly the business is dying because now all my cousins, all the family, were going to college. No one's staying behind so it was great to grow up there. It was hard. Eventually, that's what made me play football because I just didn't want to work on the farm anymore. But it was life, and I think a lot of my jokes that I tell is kind of just as a black dude from a farm town. This was my experience now, especially now that I live in a city like DC.
Right.
Wow. Where in North Carolina?
I say New Bern because a lot of people don't know where the hell Grifton is.
Okay.
So it's Grifton.
I don't know where the hell New Bern is.
Yeah, me neither.
Grifton, Grifton, North Carolina.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing. Actually, that's a really different story than what we typically.
Yeah,
get.
it is a very different story than what we talk about on this
nobody
podcast.
here really grew up on a fucking farm that I think we've had yet. Have we had a farm person yet? I feel like there was one that was kind of.
We've had some small. We've had some serious small towns.
Yeah.
Type of stuff, but straight up farm. I think you're the first.
Oh, so boom.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it was fun living. I think it made you more family oriented.
Right.
Because the whole family's around the farm. It made you close to the church because that's all your family goes to the same church.
Right.
All your family goes to the same high school. So, like I said, but it was also, I knew I had to get out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
I knew I couldn't stay. I didn't want to stay there.
Right.
So that's why I joined the military, and that's why when I got out, I was like, yeah, I'm not staying here again.
Right.
So I moved to D.C.
So in terms of allegiance these days, is Quentin Hardy more toward the Bible or to the flag? No, I'm kidding.
Neither, man.
Okay.
I wish I would have said that. Like the reason why I joined because I was patriotic or something
Right.
like some goofy. My family served. Was broke.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people join.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people join.
Oh, yeah. I mean, essentially, everyone that joins there is paid to die.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's
but
such a fucked up way to put it, but true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it did a lot more, especially if you came from an impoverished town or if you never had structure or anything like that. It definitely it gave you a purpose. It gave you a job to do.
Yeah.
It gave you something. And back to the Bible part, I grew out of it once I saw that people in church weren't living right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think
Doesn't that happen often?
it was the weirdest. Like, I mean, so I hear about other people's church stories and why they left it, but for me, it was church was never about what the pastor said. It was always about your family and the folks that came. These were the people that I went to school with, and on a Sunday morning, I get to hang out with my friends again.
Right.
So I think I learned more about how to be nice to people from church versus anything that the Bible says.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that is the big defining aspect of any one of those civic groups, including religious
how you
groups.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how. I mean, yeah, that's why a lot of these groups still exist. It creates community, and a lot of them can hate other communities together.
Well, that's fantastic. So we got a couple big things coming up at the DC and Arlington Cinema Draft Houses.
What stuff?
So on the 15th and 16th here at DC, 7 and 9, we have Sydney Washington. You may know her from Comedy Central and some other great agencies. Very funny. That's going to be a good show. Like us on Countercurrent, any one of our mediums, for a chance to win free sets of tickets.
Yep.
And then in Arlington on both Friday the 15th and then Saturday the 16th, we are going to have the pleasure of hosting. Hold the fuck on while I back this shit up on my iPhone. Boom, 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 boom,
Jordan.
boom, boom, boom. Jordan Klepper, live from the opposition, okay? Jordan Klepper Solves Guns and The Daily Show. 7:30 and 10 on the 15th, and 9:30 on the 16th. Those are going to be also fair game for sets of free tickets by following, commenting, liking us, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Come on.
Yeah, and it's getting cold outside. Now's the time to come see comedy.
This
you
is
know,
it.
it's like it's getting colder and colder. Come be inside, laugh, be warm. It'll be a great time.
Winter is the best season for that.
It is. It's the best. Like we're getting into prime comedy season. These comedians that come in this time of year are the best in the country. So don't miss out.
Yeah, make an investment of $20.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So what do you got coming up, Quentin?
Only thing I got is what's that? That Magooby's.
Comedian of the year.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
only thing I got coming up this year, and then that's it.
That's great. I did that in 2014. Is this the first round coming up?
First round.
Okay, so I should be able to have great advice, but in fact I lost in the first round. So I would just say to know that I don't know who you're up against. My first round was against Shane Gillis, who went on to win, and then, was just on our podcast recently.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. And everything else that everybody knows about. So, but he's fantastic, and he really did just murder it. But then, Nazer was there. He took one of the top three, and they both moved to the second round. And then the rest of them were all right, but I don't know. Both of them told me I got robbed. Maybe they were just being nice, but it happens. But they're trying to pick people to work future weekends, most of all. That's, I think, the biggest
hosting
point
gigs
of
is
that
what they
contest.
want to do,
Yeah. So Andrew's going to like clean. He doesn't want to hear as many fucks or as many, this or that. He demands that kind of thing. And
So much for Magoobies for me.
well, look, it took me years to get on there. I did a couple guest spots, one for Simbazo, and it did well, and I was too dirty. Then the next year, he let me go again with Rob Mayer, and then it was clean, and it crushed, and he said, I'll give you a weekend. And I kept emailing him. I didn't get anything for 2 years. I'd given up, and then out of nowhere, he goes, 5 shows this weekend, Ali Sadiq, let's do it. And then I went back the next year. With him, it's always going to be, you can't take it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful, the comedy club there is beautiful.
It is.
How it just rises up there, and it's, I did it last year. Made it to the finals, but again, I forgot my jokes. I got on stage, and I learned that lesson the hard way. Like, your best ammunition is just knowing your jokes.
Yeah, which is that's happened to me with my pregnancy brain. I'm taking like odd long pauses in the middle of my sets because I'm like, wait, I tell this joke all the time, and it's gone. But yeah, we've all been there.
So you've got that coming up. Any other?
Like I said, with the America's Got Talent audition, and then Magooby's, and then I think right now everything I have planned is looking forward towards 2020.
Nice.
So I think that's when all the festivals start kicking back up again and everything like that.
Fuck yeah.
Nice. What about you, Petey? What do you have coming up?
Boom. This Friday, the 15th, I will be at the DC Improv shows at 7 and 9 in the Lounge Comedy Kumite. I'll be
Nice.
going up against Andy Klein, my mentor, and then additionally, I think Wendy Robleski's there, Maddie Litwack, some other ones. It's going to be fun. We'll do that, 2 shows. And then on December 7th, you can catch me down at the Hogsworth Brewery in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Headlining. I don't know who's featuring, but it's going to be great. You come see me do the Dirty 30, and we'll party.
And for me, just follow me on social media. It's Elena Blondita on Instagram, Elena Torres on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. And because lately I've been getting a lot of last minute stuff, and I'm doing everything I can for the next month because then I'm taking 2 months off of maternity leave from comedy.
Right on.
So
Boom, boom.
follow me on social media. You know, I got to host at Arlington this weekend, found out about that last minute. So a lot of stuff comes up last minute. That's really great. So just follow me and you'll find out.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, we want to thank Quentin for coming through today.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thank you guys for having me, man. This is dope.
Pleasure. We'll do it again sometime. And any last inspirational message to the children?
I'm the last person to be inspirational.
All right, I think we'll cut it there. Peace.